The massive doors of the Galactic Council chamber towered over Thomas Reed as he waited for his turn to speak. His plain black suit stood in stark contrast to the colorful, flowing robes of the alien representatives around him. The council chamber itself was a marvel of architecture, with its crystal dome stretching hundreds of meters above, showing the star-filled space beyond. "The representative from Earth may now approach," announced the council speaker, their voice echoing through the vast chamber. Reed walked forward, his footsteps echoing on the polished stone floor. 200 pairs of alien eyes followed his movement, some blinking vertically, others glowing with bioluminescence. "Honorable Council," Reed began, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "Earth formally requests full membership status within the Galactic Council. We have met all basic requirements for technological advancement and unified planetary government." A low murmur spread through the chamber. From the highest tier of seats, a tall, blue-skinned being leaned forward. "You barely achieved faster-than-light travel 50 years ago," the alien said, voice tripping with contempt. "Your largest ships are mere toys compared to our fleets." Reed kept his face neutral, though his hands tightened behind his back. "With respect, Ambassador Val, humanity's rate of progress," interrupted another council member, this one covered in iridescent scales. "Let us examine your progress. Your largest warship is barely 2 kilometers in length. The smallest escort vessel in my species' fleet is 3 kilometers long." More voices joined in, each listing humanity's shortcomings. Reed stood silently, letting them speak. He had expected this response, but the reality of their dismissal still stung. The council speaker raised their hand for silence. "What does Earth offer the council? Your technology is primitive. Your ships are small. Your weapons are basic. Even your AI systems are limited compared to council standards." Reed smiled slightly. "We offer innovation, honored speaker. Humanity has a unique way of solving problems. We see possibilities where others see limitations." Laughter erupted from several sections of the chamber. "Is that all?" asked a representative whose crystalline body sparkled under the starlight. "Possibilities. The council deals in realities, human. We need concrete contributions, not dreams." "Then grant us the chance to prove ourselves," Reed countered. "Full membership would allow us to." "Denied," the speaker cut in. "However, we will grant Earth observer status. You may attend council sessions but may not vote. Additionally, we impose standard trade restrictions for developing species. You will be limited in the size and number of warships you may construct." Reed's face remained carefully blank, but his eyes hardened. "And these restrictions? No military vessel may exceed 3 kilometers in length," the speaker declared. "Your total fleet size must remain under 100 ships. These are generous terms for a species at your level." The human ambassador was quiet for a long moment. Around the chamber, council members were already turning to each other, discussing other matters, dismissing him from their thoughts. They had handled another young species, put them in their place. Business as usual. "We accept these terms," Reed finally said, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber. "But I would like to make one statement for the record." The speaker waved a limb dismissively. "Proceed." "Humanity has a saying, 'Necessity is the mother of invention.' When you limit us, when you restrict us, you don't contain us. You challenge us." Reed's eyes swept the chamber. "Remember this day. Remember how you treated us. Because we will certainly remember." "Is that a threat, Ambassador Reed?" the blue-skinned Val asked sharply. Reed smiled, and there was something in that smile that made several council members shift uncomfortably in their seats. "Not at all. It's a promise. A promise that we will show you exactly what humanity is capable of. Thank you for your time, honored council." With that, he turned and walked out of the chamber, his footsteps steady and purposeful. Behind him, the council resumed their regular business, already forgetting about the small primitive species they had just put in its place. None of them noticed Reed taking out his communicator as the doors closed behind him. None of them heard his simple message. Operation Titan is now authorized. Begin Phase 1. The Council had made their judgment. Soon, they would learn just how wrong that judgment was. Deep within Jupiter's orbit, hidden among the swirling clouds of the gas giant, something extraordinary was taking shape. Admiral James Walker stood at the observation deck of Construction Station Alpha, watching as massive robotic arms moved pieces of metal larger than cities into place. "Status report," he said into his communicator, his eyes fixed on the incredible sight before him. "Mining operations on Mercury have doubled output, sir," reported Jack Stone, the head of resource acquisition. "The automated refineries are running at maximum capacity. Mars colonies are sending everything they can spare." Walker nodded, though no one could see him. The scale of what they were building was almost impossible to grasp. Where most ships were measured in kilometers, they were measuring this one in tens of kilometers. The Council's size restriction had indeed challenged humanity. Challenged them to think bigger than anyone had ever thought before. "Sir," called out Lisa Green from her monitoring station, "we're detecting unusual energy signatures from the Kuiper Belt. Might be Council spy ships." Walker smiled. Let them look. They wouldn't understand what they were seeing. The quantum stealth fields around Jupiter masked the true nature of their work, showing only what appeared to be normal mining operations. The Council's arrogance would be their undoing. They never imagined humans could build something this massive. "How's our timeline looking?" Walker asked, turning to face the holographic display showing the project's progress. The massive hologram showed the skeleton of what would become the largest ship ever built. Even now, only 20% complete, it dwarfed everything humanity had ever constructed. The station's AI calculated the measurements in real time. The framework alone was already 15 kilometers long. "We're ahead of schedule," reported Mark Rogers, the chief construction coordinator. "The new automated construction drones are working better than expected. They're completing whole sections in days instead of weeks." Walker walked closer to the window, watching as another massive plate of armor was moved into position. The metal alloy was something new, developed specifically for this project. Stronger than anything the Council had, yet lighter and more flexible. Another impossible achievement that humanity had managed in just 2 years. "Sir," called out Green again, "message from Earth. Ambassador Reed is asking for an update to present to the Council." "Send him the false progress report," Walker ordered. "As far as the Council knows, we're building a new space station. Nothing more." The deception was necessary. The Council's restrictions had been clear. No military vessel over 3 kilometers. But they had said nothing about civilian ships. Nothing about mobile stations. Nothing about ships that could split into multiple vessels. The loopholes were there, and humanity was expert at finding loopholes. A warning alarm sounded, drawing Walker's attention back to the construction. One of the massive support beams was showing stress fractures. Normal materials simply weren't designed to work at this scale, but humans had planned for this too. "Activate the structural integrity field in Section 7, Walker commanded. The newly developed field kicked in, its invisible force supporting the impossible weight of the growing structure. Another human innovation that the Council had dismissed as impossible. Walker's communicator buzzed again. This time it was Dr. Roy from the AI Development Lab. "Sir, you need to see this. The ship's AI core. It's showing signs of consciousness 3 months ahead of schedule." This was the part that excited Walker the most. Not just the size of the ship, but its brain. They weren't just building the biggest ship in history. They were building the smartest. "Keep me updated," Walker replied. "And Doctor, make sure it understands its purpose. We're not building this ship for war. We're building it for something bigger." As he ended the call, Walker looked out at the growing skeleton of humanity's greatest achievement. The Council thought they had contained humanity's growth. Instead, they had pushed humans to achieve the impossible. Soon, Walker whispered to himself, watching another massive piece of the hull move into place. Soon they'll understand what humanity is truly capable of. Behind him, the hologram updated the project's status. 21% complete. Operation Titan was well underway, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming. Lead engineer Maria Torres hadn't slept in 36 hours, but she couldn't stop smiling. On the massive screen in front of her, the test results were clear. They had done it. The power core design that everyone said was impossible was working. "Run the test again," she ordered, her voice hoarse from too much coffee and too little rest. The engineering lab hummed with energy as the artificial quantum singularity spun up again. "Second test running," announced her assistant, Pete. "Power levels stable at..." "Wait, they're still climbing." Maria leaned forward, watching as the energy output crossed thresholds that the Council had declared impossible. The tiny singularity, barely the size of a marble, was producing more power than a small star. "Send the data to Admiral Walker," she said, finally allowing herself to sit down. "We've just solved our power problem." But power was just one of many challenges they faced. Building a ship larger than most space stations meant dealing with problems no one had ever faced before. The lab doors slid open, and Robert West, head of structural engineering, rushed in. "Maria, we've got an issue with the hull stress tests." She followed him to another testing chamber. Here, a section of the new hull material was being subjected to forces that would crush a normal ship. The metal was beginning to buckle. "Watch this," Robert said, pressing a button. The test piece twisted, then shattered. At this scale, even our strongest materials can't handle the stress of normal space travel. Maria walked to the broken piece, picking up a shard. "Then we don't use normal materials. Show me the quantum field projector." In the corner of the lab sat their latest prototype, a device that could manipulate the very fabric of space around the ship. It was based on technology the Council used for small ships, but Maria's team had modified it far beyond its original design. "If we can't make the materials strong enough," she explained, "we change how physics affects them instead." She activated the device. Around the broken hull piece, space itself seemed to ripple. When they ran the stress test again, the metal held. "Send this to production immediately," she ordered, "and get me the artificial gravity team." The next problem was just as challenging. A ship of this size needed new ways to handle gravity. Traditional artificial gravity systems would tear a ship this large apart. In the gravity lab, hundreds of small blue spheres floated in perfect formation. Each one was a gravity projector, part of a network that would maintain stable gravity throughout the massive ship. "The AI has figured out how to synchronize them," explained Tom Clark, the gravity systems expert. "It can maintain different gravity levels in different sections of the ship, all working together perfectly." Maria watched the demonstration with growing excitement. "How many projectors for the full ship?" "Over 1 million, Tom replied. "But the AI can control them all simultaneously. No human could manage a system this complex." Her communicator buzzed. Another crisis needed her attention. This time, it was the drive system testing chamber. The massive engines they were developing were pushing the boundaries of what should be possible. Inside the chamber, a prototype of the new drive core pulsed with blue energy. It was beautiful, but Maria could see the problem immediately. The energy field was unstable, fluctuating in ways that could tear the ship apart. "Adjust the containment field," she ordered. "Route power through the secondary matrices." The engineers worked quickly, making the changes. The drive core's glow steadied, then brightened. On the monitors, the power readings stabilized at levels that would let the massive ship move like a fraction of its size. Maria checked the time. Another full day had passed while they solved these problems. But time didn't matter. Only results mattered. Her communicator buzzed again. Admiral Walker's voice came through. "How are we doing, Maria?" She looked around the lab, at all the impossible things they had made possible. "We're ready for full-scale implementation." "Sir, everything works." "Good," Walker replied. Because we're going to need all of it. The Council's sending inspectors next month. We need to be ready. Maria smiled again, exhausted but proud. Let them come, sir. We'll show them what impossible really means. Around her, the lab continued its work, pushing the boundaries of science further than anyone had ever dreamed. The Council thought they knew humanity's limits. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The massive ship hung in Jupiter's clouds like a sleeping giant. Construction Station Alpha was quiet now, most of its work complete. Inside the station's command center, Admiral Walker watched as the final stealth systems came online. Quantum field active, reported Lisa Green from her station. Anyone scanning this sector will see nothing but Jupiter's normal storm patterns. The achievement before them was breathtaking. Through the reinforced windows, Walker could see sections of the massive vessel appearing and disappearing as the stealth systems were tested. At 42 kilometers long, the ship was larger than any human city ever built. Status of crew training, Walker asked, turning to his command screen. Final teams are completing their simulations, answered Captain John Miller, the training coordinator. We've been running them through scenarios in the underground facilities on Mars. No one has detected the operation. The crew selection had been crucial. 50,000 people, all chosen not just for their skills, but for their ability to keep secrets. For 3 years, they had trained in hidden facilities, preparing for a ship that officially didn't exist. Sir, called out Mark Rogers, the AI wants to speak with you. The room's main hologram flickered to life, showing a simple blue sphere, the AI's chosen avatar. They had named it Atlas, after the Titan who held up the sky. Admiral, Atlas said, its voice calm and measured. Final system checks are complete. All ship functions are operating at optimal levels. However, I have detected 3 Council probe ships at the edge of the solar system. Walker nodded. The Council had been sending more probes lately. They were getting suspicious of all the mining activity around Jupiter. But they would find nothing. The quantum stealth technology that Maria's team had developed was far beyond anything the Council had. Let them look, Walker said. They won't see anything until we want them to. An alert sounded from the weapons control station. Sir, called out Weapons Officer Dave Turner, final testing of the main cannon is ready. This was the moment Walker had been waiting for. The ship's main weapon was unlike anything ever built, a cannon that could fire a beam of concentrated energy powerful enough to cut a planet in half. Not that they ever would. The weapon, like the ship itself, was meant to protect, not destroy. Begin the test, Walker ordered. Minimum power only. The massive ship's bow began to glow faintly. Energy gathered at a point that seemed impossibly small, then released in a thin beam that vanished into space. The test target, a small asteroid 20 million kilometers away, disappeared in a flash of light. Test successful, Turner reported. Power usage at only 2% of maximum capacity. Walker allowed himself a small smile. Even at its lowest setting, the weapon was more powerful than anything the Council possessed. But that wasn't what made him proud. What made him proud was knowing they would never need to use it at full power. This ship wasn't built for war. It was built to prevent war. Final system check, he ordered. I want to know if we're ready. One by one, the ship's systems reported in. Power core, stable and running at 100% efficiency. Structural integrity fields, active and maintaining perfect stability. Artificial gravity network, synchronized and ready. Defense systems, all shields and point defense weapons operational. Stealth systems, full coverage maintained. Life support, all sectors ready for crew. AI integration, complete and fully functional. Sir, Atlas announced, the ship is ready. All systems are operational. We can begin crew boarding whenever you give the order. Walker looked at his command team. These people had worked for years to make this happen. They had faced every challenge, solved every problem, and kept the biggest secret in human history. "Send the signal," he ordered. "Tell Earth we're ready. It's time to show the Council what humanity can really do." As the message was sent, Walker watched the massive ship through the window. Soon, this giant would wake from its hiding place in Jupiter's clouds. Soon, the Council would learn that they had made a terrible mistake in underestimating humanity. The final phase was complete. Now they waited for the perfect moment to reveal their achievement to the galaxy. The Galactic Council chamber was filled to capacity. Emergency sessions were rare, and every species had sent representatives to see what Earth, of all planets, considered so important. Ambassador Reed stood calmly at the speaker's podium, looking exactly as he had 3 years ago, when the Council had dismissed humanity's request for full membership. "Honored Council," he began, "Earth would like to present our latest achievement in spacecraft construction." The blue-skinned Ambassador Val laughed. "Have you built another 3-kilometer warship? How impressive." Several other Council members joined in the laughter. Reed's face remained perfectly neutral. "If you would direct your attention to the main display, please." He pressed a button on his podium. The massive screen that covered one wall of the chamber came to life, showing a view of Jupiter. "As you can see," Reed continued, "this is a live feed of Jupiter's atmosphere. We've been operating a construction facility there for the past 3 years." Yes, the crystalline representative interrupted. "We've monitored your mining operations. Nothing unusual." Reed's lips curved into a slight smile. "Atlas," he said into his communicator, "disengage stealth systems." The Council chamber fell silent as the image on the screen changed. From Jupiter's swirling clouds, something began to emerge. First the bow, gleaming silver in the sunlight. Then more and more and more. "Impossible," whispered Ambassador Val, standing up from his seat. The ship kept emerging. It all seemed to go on forever. When it finally cleared Jupiter's atmosphere completely, the chamber erupted in chaos. Council members were shouting, some in fear, others in anger. "This," Reed announced over the commotion, "is the TES Prometheus, 42 kilometers in length, the largest spacecraft ever constructed in known space." The Council speaker slammed their gavel for order. "This is a violation of Council restrictions. You were limited to 3 kilometers. "With respect," Reed replied, still smiling, "we followed your restrictions exactly. The Prometheus is not classified as a military vessel. It's registered as a mobile civilian station, and there were no size restrictions on civilian stations." That's a manipulation of our terms," the crystalline representative sputtered. "Perhaps," Reed acknowledged, "but a legal one. Would you like to see what it can do?" Without waiting for an answer, he nodded to his assistant. The screen split, showing multiple views of the massive ship. Sections of the hull began to move, plates shifting to reveal weapon systems larger than most Council ships. "A demonstration," Reed announced. "Atlas, if you would." The ship's main cannon began to power up. The energy reading made several Council members gasp. The weapon fired, its beam precisely hitting an uninhabited moon that Earth had bought from a mining consortium. The moon didn't explode. Instead, a perfect circle, 100 kilometers wide, simply vanished. That, Reed noted, was at 5% power. The chamber was completely silent now. Every eye was fixed on the screen, watching as the massive ship moved with the grace of a vessel a fraction of its size. 3 years ago," Reed continued, "you told us we were too primitive, too limited. You gave us restrictions, thinking they would hold us back." He paused, looking around the chamber. "Instead, you challenged us to think bigger, to do better. This is the result." The Council speaker found their voice. What do you intend to do with this vessel?" Reed's expression softened. "Exactly what humanity has always done. Protect those who need protection. The Prometheus isn't a weapon of war. It's a shield for young species like ourselves, who deserve a chance to prove themselves." On the screen, The massive ship completed its demonstration, its systems powering down to normal levels. Even at rest, it dominated the view, a testament to human determination and ingenuity. Now, Reed said, about that full council membership we discussed 3 years ago. No one in the chamber laughed this time. They were too busy staring at the screen, realizing that everything they thought they knew about humanity had just changed forever. The week after Earth revealed the Prometheus, the galaxy changed. Admiral Walker stood on his ship's command bridge, watching as the 10th alien delegation of the day arrived to inspect humanity's achievement. Another diplomatic ship requesting permission to dock, Atlas announced. The Centauri Federation this time. They're a young species, only achieved space flight 30 years ago. Walker nodded. Grant them permission. Standard security protocols. The massive viewing screen showed the tiny diplomatic vessel approaching. Like all visitors, they first had to fly along the length of the Prometheus. It was a 20-minute journey at standard speed. Nothing made the ship's size clearer than that long flight. "Sir," called out Lisa Green from her station, "we're getting multiple requests for technical cooperation. 15 species want to discuss trade agreements." Walker smiled. Just last month, these same species have followed the Council's lead in treating humanity as primitive. Now they couldn't send representatives fast enough. "Ambassador Reed is calling from Earth," Atlas reported. "Putting him through now." Reed's hologram appeared on the bridge, looking tired but satisfied. "You won't believe what's happening at the Council, James. The power structure is completely changing." "Tell me," Walker said, settling into his command chair. 3 more young species have demanded review of their membership status. They're using us as precedent. The older species can't dismiss them anymore. Not with the Prometheus proving what younger civilizations can achieve. The news didn't surprise Walker. This was exactly what they had hoped for. A chance to change the galaxy's unfair power structure. A alert sounded from the tactical station. "Sir," reported Dave Turner, long-range sensors detecting a Council Dreadnought approaching. Much faster than regulation speed. Walker raised an eyebrow. "Atlas, identification. It's the Pride of Val, Admiral. Ambassador Val's personal flagship. 3 kilometers in length, which now seems rather small." The crew chuckled at Atlas's comment. The Council ship, once considered enormous, looked like a toy beside the Prometheus. "They're hailing us," Turner announced. On screen, Walker ordered. Ambassador Val's blue face appeared before them. The alien looked different now. Gone was the arrogant dismissal. In its place was something that looked almost like respect. "Admiral Walker," Val said formally, "my government has authorized me to discuss a technology exchange. We have developments in quantum physics that might interest you." Walker kept his face neutral. Last month, such an exchange was forbidden. We were too primitive, as I recall. Val's skin darkened. Their species equivalent of a blush. "Circumstances have changed. We recognize now that we may have been hasty in our judgment." "Sir," Lisa interrupted, incoming message from the Arcturus system. "Their colony world is under attack by pirates. They're requesting assistance." This was their chance. This was what the Prometheus was built for. "Ambassador Val," Walker said, "would you like to observe how a primitive species handles peacekeeping?" He didn't wait for an answer. Atlas, set course for Arcturus. Maximum speed. The massive ship moved with impossible grace, its engines powering up. The Pride of Val was left behind as the Prometheus entered faster than light speed. "Message from Earth Central," Lisa reported. "They're getting calls from all over the galaxy. Everyone wants to know our response to the pirate attack." Walker stood up, looking at his crew. "Let's show them exactly what humanity stands for. Not conquest, not dominance, but protection. Atlas, prepare the main cannon, minimal power. We want to scare the pirates, not vaporize them." As the Prometheus raced toward its first real mission, Walker thought about how much had changed. The Council had tried to keep humanity small, contained. Instead, they had pushed humans to build something that would change the galaxy forever. "Sir," Atlas said, "the Centauri delegation is still waiting to dock. Should I reschedule?" Walker shook his head. "No, let them come aboard. Let them see what we do. The more who understand our purpose, the better." The galaxy was changing. Power was shifting. And humanity was at the center of it all, not as conquerors, but as protectors, just as they had planned all along. 6 months after the Prometheus first revealed itself, the Galactic Council chamber looked very different. The rigid seating hierarchy was gone. Now younger species sat alongside the oldest civilizations. At the center of this change stood Ambassador Reed, preparing to address the Council one final time. "The vote is complete," announced the Council speaker. "Earth's petition for full membership has been approved. Furthermore, the Council accepts Earth's proposal for the Protection Initiative." Reed nodded, looking around the chamber. Every seat was filled. Even the observation galleries were packed with representatives from species that had never before attended Council sessions. "The Prometheus was never meant to be unique," Reed began. "From the beginning, we planned to share what we learned." The main screen activated, showing the massive ship in orbit around Earth. But it wasn't alone anymore. Beside it, construction had begun on something new. "We call this the Guardian Academy," Reed continued. "A place where all species, regardless of their technological level, can learn and contribute. The Prometheus isn't just a ship, it's a template for a new way of thinking." Ambassador Val stood up. "Earth has already proven its point. Why share such powerful technology?" Reed smiled. "Because that's what humanity does. We don't hoard knowledge. We share it. We don't suppress innovation. We encourage it. The Academy will be open to all species who wish to learn." The screen changed, showing detailed plans. The Academy would be built around the Prometheus, using the massive ship as both a shield and a teaching tool. Already, Reed announced, 15 younger species have joined the program. Their engineers work alongside ours, bringing new perspectives, new ideas. The next Guardian-class ship will be better than the Prometheus, because it will have the wisdom of many species in its design. Admiral Walker's hologram appeared next to Reed. "The Prometheus was built to protect," he said. "But one ship, no matter how large, can't protect an entire galaxy. That's why we need more Guardians. Not just ships, but species willing to stand up for others." The chamber erupted in discussion. On the screen, construction drones swarmed around the growing Academy structure. It would be even larger than the Prometheus when completed. "There are conditions," Reed continued when the noise died down. "Any species that joins the Guardian program must pledge to protect others, regardless of their technological level. Power must come with responsibility." Atlas's blue sphere appeared on the screen. "The AI networks we developed for the Prometheus will be shared as well. We will teach, guide, and help coordinate. But the decisions will always remain in organic hands." The Council speaker raised their hands for silence. "This is unprecedented. Never has a species achieved such power and then immediately offered to share it." "That's because you never truly understood humans," Reed replied. "You saw our ships and measured our technology, but you never looked at our history. Humans have always achieved the most when we work together, when we share knowledge, when we protect each other." Walker's hologram nodded. "The Prometheus wasn't built to show our superiority. It was built to show what's possible when you challenge people to do better, to be better." The screen changed again, showing ships from a dozen worlds arriving at Earth. Each carried students, engineers, and dreamers ready to learn and contribute. "The age of isolation is over," Reed declared. "No more will young species be dismissed or restricted. No more will pirates or bullies prey on developing worlds. The Guardians will stand watch, not as conquerors, but as protectors." The Council chamber was silent for a moment. Then, one by one, representatives began to stand. The applause started slowly, then built to a thunderous roar. On the screen, the Prometheus gleamed in Earth's sunlight. Soon, It would be joined by other ships of its kind, each built by a coalition of species working together. The ship that had been built in secrecy would become a symbol of open cooperation. Humanity had changed the galaxy, not through force or fear, but through protection and sharing. The Council had tried to contain humanity's growth. Instead, they had helped create something far greater, a galaxy where all species could grow together, protected by the guardians they would build as one.